A tiny fist curls, then falls open. Eyelids flutter, but not from dreaming the way you'd imagine. For newborns, sleep isn't rest from a long day. It's the main event. 16, sometimes 18 hours a day, spent almost entirely unconscious. We assume it's because their bodies are exhausted, worn out from the sheer effort of being new. But that explanation collapses the moment you look closer. Newborns don't move enough to be tired. They don't burn the calories, don't strain the muscles, don't do the things that make adults collapse into bed. And yet they sleep more than almost any other stage of human life. So what is actually happening in that stillness? It turns out sleep for a baby isn't downtime at all. It's construction time. Somewhere behind those closed eyes, a brain is being built at a pace it will never match again. Synapses forming by the millions per second. Neural pathways wiring themselves into place. The baby isn't resting from the world. It's assembling the machinery it will need to perceive that world in the first place. And the strangest part is this. For a newborn brain, the fastest way to grow is to shut everything else down. Peel back the stillness, and the brain underneath is anything but quiet. This is where the mystery starts to unravel, because babies don't just sleep more, they sleep differently. Nearly half of a newborn's sleep is spent in a stage called REM sleep, the same stage adults use for dreaming. But adults spend barely a fifth of the night there. Babies live in it. And researchers have long observed that REM sleep isn't just about dreaming, it floods the brain with electrical activity, almost as if it's rehearsing. Rehearsing what, exactly, when there's no world yet to rehearse for? The answer lies in a process called synaptic pruning and its opposite, synaptogenesis, the brain growing connections faster than it will ever grow them again. Every sound, every face, every shift of light the baby has encountered gets tested, wired, and reinforced during this internal storm. Awake, a newborn's senses are still blurry, uncoordinated, barely online. Asleep, the brain has the privacy it needs to do the real work, linking a heartbeat's rhythm to comfort, a voice's pitch to safety. This isn't downtime bolted onto development, it is development. The stillness on the outside is a cover for one of the most electrically active states the human brain will ever produce. No other primate is born this unfinished. A newborn chimpanzee can cling to its mother's fur within hours. A newborn horse stands and walks within minutes. Human babies can barely lift their own heads. Evolution seems to have made a strange trade, and sleep is the price tag. Anthropologists point to something called the obstetric dilemma. As human ancestors evolved bigger brains, but also evolved narrower hips for walking upright, a collision became inevitable. A fully brain-developed baby simply could not fit through the birth canal. So evolution found a workaround. Human babies are born early relative to their actual development, with a brain that still has most of its wiring to complete outside the womb, in the world, in real time. That unfinished brain is fragile, uncoordinated, and almost defenseless. But it buys something extraordinary. A brain that gets to finish building itself in direct response to its specific environment, its specific caregivers, its specific world. And that construction project can't happen out in the open, amid the noise and demands of waking life. It needs shelter. Sleep became that shelter, an evolutionary loophole, a way to keep growing a brain too complex to finish before birth without the danger of doing it awake and exposed. What looks like helplessness is actually a hidden strategy, playing out one sleep cycle at a time. Every parent who's watched a baby sleep has felt that pull. The instinct to see it as absence, as a pause in the relationship, a moment where nothing is happening between you. But nothing could be further from the truth. In that stillness, a brain is quietly encoding the sound of your voice, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the specific shape of your face, building itself around you specifically, on purpose. Sleep isn't the interruption to a baby's story. It's where the story is actually being written. We tend to measure development by what we can see, the first smile, the first step, the first word, and treat everything in between as waiting. But the waiting was never empty. Long before a baby can reach for the world, its brain is already reaching, in the dark, in dreams it may never remember, toward the people who will shape it. Maybe that's the real revelation, that growth doesn't always look like effort. Sometimes the most important work a human being will ever do happens with the eyes closed, in complete stillness, trusting that the world will still be there in the morning.